Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to the
Yes.
latest Staying Sane with Jay and my partner in crime, Husane, as we try not to lose our collective frickin' minds about all this stupid shit going on in the world. Yeah, so, Sane,
How are you
Husane,
doing?
well, I'm
Yep.
good. How are you?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm good. How are you?
Yep. I'm perfectly fine. Okay.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Especially,
As opposed to imperfectly fine?
yeah, it was a little bit of imperfect, but now it's completely perfect by listening to some interesting news that's so much enticing and refreshing. So let's begin
Okay.
with that.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's
How
start
about
with
that?
some
Yeah.
good news for once instead of the stuff that drives us around the bend.
Yeah. So this is something which uh, comes from Pew Research Center. That's about the the outlook of the religions, how it went from 2010 to 2020. That's the period of 10 years, a decade time. So there's something which is so interesting from that period of time. So I'll just share a screen for us to see that. So I think it's visible now. Yeah. So you can see
Coming
here,
up.
right?
There we go. Yep, we go.
Yeah. So this is how the global religious landscape changed from 2010 to 2020. So the best part is that, as we always say, Muslims grew fastest. That's like it's like 1.8 percentage of an increase from its last year's population. So you can see here how the populations increased. So the change in millions from 2010, you can see here. And why we have something to celebrate here is not because of whether Muslims grew or whether Christians grew or whether they reduced or nothing, but it's about how the people with no religious affiliations, how did they fare here? That's something so much interesting. They grew as a percentage of the world's population, and we have the total population visible here. It's like we are almost a quarter of the world population now. That is the non-religious people.
Awesome.
Yes. So
Awesome. Great news.
so
Winning.
yeah, that's a big win for us. Maybe we can add some music for that. How about that?
I'd love to.
Yep. This is some local music for international audience. Let it be that. So
Winning.
we must recollect what was the numbers for the last decade, like from 2000 to 2010. For that period, the numbers were a little bit different. Like the major difference was between the Muslims and how the religious unaffiliated people were. Like we were like 16%, close to 16 to 70%. But now we have increased almost a 7% increase approximately, and now we have reached almost 24.2%. And Muslims were almost 23% in the last decade, and now it is 25.6. So it's just 2% increase. Now we just uh, extrapolate this result to the next decade, or maybe the next 2 or 3 decades. What will be the number? What's your take on that? How would be our population
I, w-
in the
I,
next 20 or 30 years?
oh, I'm sure we're going to be anywhere from a third to a half within the next generation.
Oh, that's too much.
No, I mean, we're seeing the trend, right? It's growing
Yeah.
fast. Like, especially, I was actually talking about this. One of our, as
Hmm.
Arif knows privately,
Hmm.
one of our other board members is actually in town, the same city that I'm in, and we met for dinner over the weekend. He's staying with me, We were talking about this, and we were saying like already we're seeing with Gen Z that a
Hmm.
large percentage of Gen Z are religiously unaffiliated. We're seeing the older generations who are still believers, we're seeing them dying off. The
Hmm.
Gen Z and even the generation coming up behind Gen Z is even more so religiously unaffiliated. So as the greatest generation, as was it Tom Brokaw or Dan Rather, I can't remember which one of them, referred to the people who fought, in World War II, the greatest generation. Most of them obviously now have unfortunately died off, but the people who born during World War II, who are now like in their 80s, as that generation, the people in their 70s, 80s, 90s who are approaching the end of their life, who still
Hmm.
tend to be, including my own parents are still go to church every week.
Yeah.
All of their friends still go to church. So as we're
Hmm.
seeing the senior citizens, as they are moving into dying off, uh, they tend to be more religiously affiliated. The Gen Z and the generation, I don't know, was it Gen A? I don't know what the term is for the generation coming of age now, whatever the term is for that. They,
Hmm.
as the older cohort dies off and the younger generations are coming of age, I think we're going to see a profound demographic shift
Hmm.
in religiosity
Yeah.
easily within the next 20 years, because within the
Hmm.
next 20 years that significant chunk of the elderly population which are religiously affiliated will be gone, and you've got
Hmm.
all the up and coming. So I think
Yeah.
easily we're going to go from a third to a half within the next 20 years easily.
Mm. Yeah, right. So, so you're attributing the growth of the non-religious people mostly by the death of the older generations.
Well, it's both. It's yes, the older generation is dying off, but it's also because the younger
That's
generations,
one fact. Yeah.
Like millennial, Gen Z, and whatever the
Mm.
new generation is, they are increasingly non-religious. But
Right.
the biggest chunk of that
Mm.
religiously affiliated population are the senior
Mm.
citizens who grew up and were raised in this, and still, they've been involved in it their whole life. I, I
Mm.
I can't remember if I mentioned it here. I know it's in my book.
Mm.
Um, I think when you say Max Planck, if it's not Max Planck, please don't hold me to this.
Mhm.
But I related. It was actually in a book by a former priest and professor of philosophy and religion, who I'm quoting, and it was in his book. He guested on the podcast before. His name is Professor Greg Dawes. We've done a couple of podcasts with Greg Dawes, and Greg says in one of his books, quoting Max Planck, that science doesn't advance because of the credibility or the what's the word, the accuracy of a new scientific theory, but because the older generation dies off and the new scientific paradigms just
Mm.
take hold in the younger generation.
Mhm.
So we can extrapolate that same logic to
Mm.
religion, that as the senior citizens continue to die off, because they are the biggest. You
Mhm.
If you look at the demographics of religious affiliation, easily like the biggest chunk are the senior citizens. So
Mhm.
when they've shifted off this mortal coil, we're going to see a huge, huge shift in the
Mhm.
demographics of religion.
And also with regards to the increased exposure these Gen Z and the younger generation are getting through the internet and the social media, it's giving them an opportunity to get exposed to uh, the various forms
For
of
sure.
criticism of religion and the
For
questioning of the faith.
sure.
And yeah, so that's something which is so immense and which can bring about tremendous change within them. So they will get on to question the religious beliefs and the traditions that they see, and they can even they have an option to question that to an extent that many older generation have never seen something like that. So that's also giving them
Yeah.
a chance to get out of these religions.
And a
So
lot of the older generations don't want to look at the facts. A lot of them are not necessarily internet savvy. I mean, some of them are. Like my dad is, my
right.
mom certainly is not.
Mhm.
Um, but there's I can't remember who was the first to say it. It could have been Nietzsche. But like the God-sized hole. You know, these older generations, like their whole life
Hmm.
they've believed. They're it is what's the cognitive dissonance, the psychological term cognitive dissonance. For them to feel in something they've believed for 60 plus years, it really calls into question their intellect, their whole worldview.
Mm,
So these elderly people who've believed this their whole life, they're just not going to question. Just look at it from
mm,
the other perspective, to use the term they're cramming for their final exams, for their, appearing
mm,
before the gates of St. Peter. So a lot of the elderly people they're invoking Pascal's wager, that it's better to believe and be wrong. So
mm,
they're not gonna just check out something they've believed their whole
mm.
life. So
And this is one statement that was famously said by Mariam Namazi. You might know her.
mhm,
She's the main person behind the upbringing of the ex-Muslims communities, especially in the Europe, and she brought out the ex-Muslims of Britain, that council and other things. So she said this once, that is, the internet and social media is doing to Islam what the printing press did in the past to the Christianity, because it's one way in which masses of people can connect with each other, can hear ideas that are taboo and forbidden. So that's
exactly,
how,
exactly.
yeah,
That
yeah. So
is
this,
exactly correct.
mm,
I've emailed Marion once or twice.
mhm,
If she would like to come on the show, but she hasn't replied. So if you're in contact with her, by all means, honestly, I would love to get her on the show to talk with her
mhm,
about this shift. But that is exactly correct. So
right.
as I mentioned a moment ago about the information in the book, so just
Mhm,
plug. Really shameless plug. So those of you who are regular watchers who've maybe heard me mention, I have a book
mhm,
on the history of the Catholic Church, spanning
mhm,
the entire era of Christianity from the year one up to today.
mhm,
I received a publishing offer last week. So a
mhm,
publisher is interested in publishing this book. I do have a section where I talk about the Martin Luther, the Protestant Reformation, and the printing press. So Miriam
right.
is not wrong. The printing
Yeah.
press was
Mm,
absolutely key to the Protestant Reformation, and I go into quite a bit of detail in my book on why and how that happened.
mhm,
So when the publisher says he wants to publish it this fall, whether we can get all the editing done. I mean, most of the editing is done, but when they see they want to publish this fall, so we've got like 4 months until this book comes out. So roughly, so August, September, October, yeah, 3 4 months to get this book ready and printed and published. So it's going to be a mad scramble. So of our,
mhm.
our followers here, if you're interested, you want to follow the history of the
Right.
Catholic Church and my book is very much focused on the use of deception, lies, forgeries, and declarations by the Catholic Church in their accumulation of power and how that
Mm,
has led to the modern sexual abuse crisis. So if you're interested in that kind of history, please, please buy my book this fall. So
yep, yep. It's
that's
not just to me that anyone hearing this, they can also buy that
right.
book and just go
Yeah,
through
I'm
that.
talking. Yeah, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to our audience.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I,
So
I
you,
certainly
you,
expect I
so
would certainly expect every one of your board members to buy a copy. If not, I'm going to
yeah,
be
definitely
I'm
you
be-
must buy that book and support us too, like, because this is
yeah,
something which you can lend as a hand in popularizing these messages, like to spread how the thought process should be. It's not about we are dictating something, it's just giving out how you can shape your thinking process to arrive at the right answers, to take the right
yeah,
raw materials and to go further. It's not like we are limiting your scope, we are encouraging the ways by which you can improve your thinking process and to arrive at different conclusions. And I would say this statement by Maria Namazi is something which ignited a kind of a sense of inquiry in me when I was a believer. I happened to see this once, and at that point of time, I was a believer, and this was something which forced me to think what happened to Christianity and why did she say this. If something is true in this, something might have happened to Christianity, and if that is true, and I'm seeing this, and that's because of internet, then what she says is right. So that was one moment of a trigger for me to think about this and to go forward and to listen to whatever things this criticism about Islam was really trying to bring about, or they were trying to convey to us. So that was one way by which I was able to listen to that and to introspect and to check for myself and to conclude, come to a conclusion for myself. It's not like I'm just taking up something which was said by someone, just copying it or something like that. It was all the conclusions which I have made is by myself, by doing all these things, and that can be done by anyone. The only condition is that you have to do the homework. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
applicable here. And at this
Yeah.
point, I can also add one website here, that is, sorry, one another report from the Pew Research itself, that's about the misleading title here. And for the last decade, we were all fighting this misleading title, because all the Muslims around the world, they just come up with this title saying that Islam, as per the Pew Research, Islam is the fastest growing religion, and your criticism is not working, so you need not do that. So this was the style in which they were trying to oppose this. The problem
Well,
was they just read the title, that's it. So below this, you can see here the title goes like this: that is, Islam was the world's fastest growing religion from 2010 to 2020. And why I'm saying this is misleading is because it's not the fastest growing, it's fastest breeding religion, in fact, because this is what it mentions below the report, below the title here, because you can see here the second largest religious group in the world after Christians. This is what is mentioned. But below all this, you can come to the reasons the global Muslim population grew quickly. The reasons are pretty clearly given over there. The global Muslim population grew rapidly because of the demographic factors. Muslims have more children and are younger on average. This is the main reason, or this is the one reason. Because the other reason could be, as you might have imagined by now, it could be some sort of conversion that is leading more people from other religion or from irreligion to Islam, and that is causing more people to accept Islam and to be counted as a Muslim, and that can showcase as a reason for the increase in the population growth. But in this report itself, it's clearly mentioning about the role of conversion, whether it has any role in increasing the number. You can read here. At the global level, Muslim population changes has little to do with people converting into or out of the faith. There's no role for conversion. It's purely demographic. That means you are breeding more and your religion is growing more. And the fertility rate is more among Muslims, and also the population, the average age group in which the Muslim population is thriving is also younger than, almost 10 years younger than the people from other religious groups. So it is like 24 in global population for Muslims on an average, while for other religions it's close to 33 and 34. So that's the difference. So that's causing this growth, or the fastest growth for the Muslim population. That's just simply breeding. So please don't come up with the argument that Muslims are gaining more number of people and that's the reason why they are growing, because the statistics, as per your own favorite site, that is the Pew Research, that's your favorite site. We are not bringing up something from our own, or we are not cooking up something. It's just from your own favorite site. So it clearly mentions it's no role for conversions, and it is also giving the estimates that about 1% of people who are raised Muslim leave the faith. That means they are becoming apostates, ex-Muslims. This loss is offset by comparable influx of people joining Islam. So it's like 1% going out and 1% coming in. So that means the change is zero. And
net
along with
zero.
that, yeah, yeah, along with that, if the people are dying more, and if they are losing more in the coming years, more ex-Muslims, and if you are dire enough to get rid of the religious dictums of killing the apostates, and how the rules in Islam are kept forward, like to kill the apostates, to punish the blasphemers and other things, you will find even more Muslims leaving the religion. So this is exactly why the Muslim population is coming down, as just as Christianity is saying here, because of the rules in Islam. And this is not something which I have said. This is also mentioned by the infamous religious scholar, Muslim scholar called Yusuf al-Qaradawi. He once mentioned this on a live TV show, and he just mentioned it. It's like if there was no rule for killing the apostates in Islam, Islam wouldn't have reached to a level what you are seeing now. This is what he said. And this is exactly true for the same reason, because that symbol or that single rule in Islam kept more Muslims to this faith than leaving it out of seeing the problems in it, or due to the human rights violations due to this religion, the like the hijab rules, or the discrimination against the women, the children, and all other people, and many other anti-human things which is present in this religion. No Muslim is allowed to go outside of that, and if he does that, he will be punished to an extent. Even he might even get a death sentence. So that's even causing a lot of people to go like a closeted ex-Muslim. That's the real reason why Islam is growing. Okay, so this is going to change in the coming years, in the coming decade. That's what I was also saying yesterday. That is, for the next decade, 1 or 2 decades, things will be even more interesting. After 2 decades, you will see almost half of the population will be irreligious. What do you say? That's what you said earlier, right?
Yeah.
So we can rejoice at that moment. We will have a party for that day.
Well, if we're
Let's
still
reserve for
here,
that.
if the Earth hasn't, if we haven't boiled the Earth with climate
Right.
change, or been hit by an asteroid, or taken over by an alien race. So
Yeah. So this is the world mean age groups: 24 for Muslims, and non-Muslims 33. So this is the age group. So you become more pregnant, and you give more births, and people are creating more babies, and that's the single main reason. So please don't come up with Islam is the fastest religion because of more conversions, because conversions don't have any role. So I just wanted to reiterate that. So let's move on. So anything from your end?
yeah, so a couple of issues. So
Uh,
there was the reports that the Israelis bombed some more innocent people again, and then the IDF investigated. They went, "Oops, we fucked up." Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. There's also that we talked before about the that BBC documentary,
Documentary, yeah.
um,
It's,
that was
they
the
pulled it
narrator, the child narrator was the son of a Hamas official.
this year.
BBC has now issued a report saying yes, there were some editorial snafus here, that it should have been openly declared,
Mm,
that it was a breach of their guidelines, as you're showing. However, the report stopped short of actually saying that anything wrong was done, that
mm,
the script was not written by Hamas. The script was completely written by BBC. This child of Hamas official just wrote the script. So anyway, that was
mm.
that.
That was a major one. Like that kid was the son of agricultural official Hamas in Hamas ministry. So
Yeah.
that was the problem, and this was the kid, and the documentary name was "How to Survive a War Zone, Gaza: How to Survive a War Zone." Okay, and one thing I just wanted to add here is that this issue, this imbroglio, has strengthened the narrative that a lot of things are cooked up from the side of the Gazans by the Hamas for encouraging the emotional outbursts among the people um, to donate more and to to side with the Hamas and their narratives. So that Hollywood or the Gaza wood thing. So you might be aware of that. They create a lot of videos and do the things. So this is one way by which they try
And
to
you're
woo the
saying
people.
Israel doesn't have their own propaganda that's complete fucking bullshit? Are you trying to make
Okay,
that point?
so if they are doing that, we are. Do you agree that this is also done by the Palestinians for this victim card, victimhood?
I'm again, as I've said before, we don't really know what's going on. As if you read that full article on the BBC documentary, it actually restated the fact that Israel does not
There's
allow gas into Gaza
stating that
to
doesn't make any
independently
sense.
verify.
Yeah, stating that
So
doesn't make any sense because
Israel is full of shit. I'm sure Hamas is entirely full of shit.
no.
Both sides are lying their fucking asses off left and right. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle between both sides. So.
Oh, okay. That's a valid point, or that's something which we can take forward. But this point, there's a disagreement on that, because if even if they say that it was not influenced, when this is something being said by Hamas, which is considered to be a terror organization, and a child coming out of that official, um, also known for creating such cooked up stories a lot, with a lot of videos circulating in the internet, that clearly says that if we are just approaching a person from the terror organization which already has a position in this, there's no point in saying that they didn't influence it, because it's by nature or by instinct it is understood, or the chances are more for that. So there's no point in saying that they never influenced the script, because even if, and the problem with this documentary as said by the BBC is that choosing a child as a narrator and to go with that affected their accuracy. That is the main problem, because you cannot trust
No,
what a child
I
says.
don't. No, 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 no. If read the article, BBC scripted this. The child just read off the script. Now, using a child is a strategic move because it's an emotional resonance, right? If you
Yeah.
use a child to describe these kinds of atrocities, it it strikes deeper at your emotional heartstrings, right? So that was more of a strategic. But the kid wasn't footballing. He was reading a script. And he didn't, Moss didn't write the script. It says so right in the right in that BBC article.
Yeah, so this is, you can read here. So yeah, the report concluded that use of the child narrator for this program was not appropriate in the circumstances. So what is the circumstance? That's the problem.
Yeah. But
So
notice your second line. The
yeah,
narrator's scripted contribution did not constitute a breach of due impartiality. That's your takeaway. That's the takeaway. It was
you cannot,
scripted.
there's no point in saying that when you already side with a terror organization, and when you
I'm not
say this,
siding
that
with a
doesn't make
terror
any sense.
organization. I am not siding with a terror
Not you,
organization.
not you, not you, not you,
Yeah.
the program
Yeah.
creator, when they side with or they choose to be with the terror organization, that itself uh, nullify its intentions. That's the problem. There's no point in saying that we didn't influence the script, or we didn't make anything voluntarily to make something as look impartial or something. It's not valid anymore. So because you are already talking to a terrorist organization personnel, so that itself nullifies the whole intention.
Well, listen to this. I've watched this video. I've
Mm,
also, I recorded an AI podcast with one of the people who was featured in that video.
mhm,
However, we chose not to air it because it was deemed to be too political and against the stated objective of AI that, the guest was being rather political.
mhm,
And it was just we didn't want to cause problems, unnecessary problems. Now, having had a private conversation with an expert on the situation in Gaza, this guy was just yeah. I mean, just this was an interesting. I would recommend people go watch it. Make up your own mind. Like, that's the thing. Don't believe what anybody tells you. If you can find this video, go find it and watch it for yourself.
mhm. Yeah,
Make
it's
up
there
your
in the
own
internet
mind.
archives.
Yeah,
It's
go
there.
make up your
Yeah.
own mind what you think. I mean, don't listen to me, don't
So
listen to Hussein, don't listen to watch it for yourself and make your
right,
own
right.
decision based on facts, right?
Just like that, this is one another example. It's not from that movie, but this is something which we you can see everywhere on online, where how the children are being used to feed into this propaganda, like to enforce the claim of genocide, and how the children are affected and other things. So you can see here. So it's like a child is being photographed, videographed for their purposes. Like he's being given a package of the food, taken the videos, and now when the videograph that is done, they take it back, and they just move on. And this is how the aid works in Gaza by the Hamas personnel, because they give more aid for propaganda than for feeding their own citizen. And this is something which is exposed many times, and this is the main reason why they chose to bypass this, and they went for alternative methods uh, to hand over the aid to the people directly, and by forming the GHF. And for that, they have come up with some allegations of attacking within the aid areas, and whereby they say that people are being shot at point blank and mass
Yeah.
shootings,
Oh,
killing them and all.
there's propaganda on both sides. If you think the Israelis aren't spewing their own abject bullshit, then I don't know what else I can tell you. But
See,
oh,
uh,
oh,
as you said, I'm not saying all this just because of uh, any unwavering love towards them or something. As we said earlier, you look for the news, you look for the evidence which are present in front of us, and if it speaks for whoever persons or the sites which is it is speaking to, let's go with that. Let's go where the evidence is leading us. This is what I
yeah. Well, that's
prefer
the
to
problem.
go.
As I just mentioned, that article stated no journalists. Israel does not allow journalists into Gaza. So whose side are we getting? Everything that's coming out of Gaza is either coming from Hamas or it's
If a
coming from
journalist
Israel.
go
There
there,
are
and
no
if
independent journalists in Gaza who can tell us what the fuck is going on.
if
Because
a
all
journal
we're getting Israel's bullshit and we're getting Hamas's bullshit.
if a journalist go there and he gets shot at, who will be uh, made accountable of that?
Well, hopefully they're not shooting at journalists, but we do know what
They
happens.
are
But
shooting. They are deliberately shooting. It has happened in the past. It has happened in the past. So that's the main reason.
journalists in.
And also, even then, we have seen journalists going there and coming out with news. We have seen many news outlets going there and coming out, and even if they go there, why don't they report it properly? That's why that's what we are seeing or we are asking. Even for this GHF 8 distribution shootings, first instance they came up with the news that Israel was behind all this, and when Israel released the drone footages of how the shootings were done, Washington Post, they pulled the report on that. They even made an apology, and like that, many other news outlets came up with that. So what is the point in creating this ruckus in reporting and to sensationalize the issues, always siding with one side? So this is not creating any goodness. If you are looking for a solution to the problem, we have to address the real issues, we have to address the real cause, we have to call out the real problem makers, and that's the way by which we can go forward. But that's not happening here. We are always trying to portray that one side is evil and the other side is
Yeah, but
the
both sides are
angels.
doing that. You know,
Sorry.
the Israelis paint
Israelis are
the
doing, but
Palestinians
I'm
and the
asking about
Palestinians do the
how the news
Israelis.
media, why the news media is
What
not talking
media?
for,
The media is not allowed to get
why,
into Gaza.
why
And
the
that's
news
the shit.
media is not
That's
talking for the hostages, why they are
why
not talking
why
for
are journalists into Gaza? What the fuck are they hiding? Ask yourself that
who are
question. What
hiding.
is Israel hiding that they won't let journalists in? If
You
they
can
feel
go in and out of
if,
Israel and you can report anything. There's no
yeah, they're
problem in
not
that.
allowed in Gaza. Ask yourself,
Gaza
why
is a
is
war
Israel not
zone.
allowing journalists?
Gaza is a war
So
zone. There's
you
every
you
chance that
have
a press official can
correspondents.
be taken as a hostages, and they can be even killed,
You
and that has
have
happened in the past.
people.
So that's
You
the
have
reason why they are not
journalists who
letting
come
in,
into war
or they are
zones.
they are they are giving them a limited chance to go there
That's
and
what
come out.
Israel wants. That's what
That's
Israel
happening
wants.
here.
Let the journalists in. Let the journalists in. Let people
Who will
in.
ensure their safety?
The
Will
journalists,
Gaza or will
the
the Hamas will ensure the safety of these
war
press
correspondents
officials?
know the risk. That's why they do
Who
the
will
job. They
ensure the
know that they can
safety
be
of the
killed.
press officials?
Safety. That's why they do this job.
No, no.
If
Safety
if
is of paramount importance. Safety is of paramount importance. That's
not to these
completely
journalists.
relevant.
These journalists are willing to take the risk to get the
It's
story.
not.
So
This is something which is
you are splitting
no.
hairs. Let the journalists win.
Any press
And
official
they
who is willing to go there, not on a suicide mission,
why
they
won't they
can
let
go
them
there.
in?
But that's not the
Why
situation over there.
why won't you let them in?
I
You
will
tell
tell you
me
something.
why
I'll
won't
tell you
you let
something.
them in?
I have approached. I'll tell you something. I have approached the officials whom I know from Israel as a person representing as an independent podcast or someone like me. I asked them through the embassy here in India whether I can go there into Gaza and do the job, like reporting from the ground. They told me directly, no, you cannot go. And I asked them why. Because if I'm willing to take the risk, why don't you let me in? And the only thing which they told me is that your life is at risk, because we cannot guarantee that you are safe, because that's
That's
a situation over
bullshit.
there.
That
This is
is
not
a
bullshit.
oh,
This is something which happens. I can give you the contact. I can
it's a
give you the
bullshit
contact for
argument.
the
And
Israeli
look,
embassy.
we have
Are you willing to
had
go there and to do the job?
we have had war correspondents
I
in
will pay for the
every
first best.
single
Okay.
war in the last 100+ years. That is a bullshit
You won't be
fucking
let to go
argument. I'm
because
calling
your
you.
life is
I'm
in danger.
no.
That's the
I'm
situation
calling
over
you
there.
on. They
That's
tell
your
us they're
situation. That's the real
they
situation.
tell us
We
they're
cannot
willing to
ignore
take
the
the risk.
situations, and you cannot
They're
just
telling us they're
press.
willing to take the risk.
Being a press person is not on a suicide mission. You have to
If
take care,
they're
or
if
the bodies
if
outside.
the
They have to take care of you.
journalists are willing to take the risk, then that's their choice. It's not up to
You
you
can
to
take the risk,
spew this bullshit line.
but that's a war zone, and that's not always what has happened over there. And
I'm
even in the
telling you,
past, that
dude,
has caused
your
death to
arg dude,
the
your
press
argument is
personnel.
bullshit. Your
That's not
argument's
easy.
bullshit and you know it. Your argument's bullshit and you know it.
See, okay, I'll tell you. I'm ready to go there, and why I'm not let in? That's what I'm asking. I
You're
directly
not what?
asked the. I asked them. I'm willing to go to Gaza and report from that place as an independent podcaster or someone like me. Uh, they were telling me that you are not allowed to go there, and I asked them why. That's what I said to you right now. They told me that your life will be in danger. That's the only single reason. Even I asked them if
Yeah,
willing to take the risk. Even then, they won't let us in,
yeah,
because
dude, that's a bullshit
it's
argument. It's a
it's not bullshit,
bullshit
because if you are
argument.
talking about losing lives, and if the Hamas is not responsible to leave you outside alive, how can someone be let in like this? That's not possible, because
Dude,
life,
it's
even
a
if of a
bullshit.
personal,
So
is
you're telling me during World War
precious.
II, during World War II in Vietnam, the Americans said, sorry, we won't let journalists into the theater because their lives might be at risk in a war zone. That's a
That's
bullshit
a
argument. You
real
know it's
issue
a
there,
bullshit
because
argument.
it's not a
Same
something an
thing.
ordinary
It's
war
a
zone.
bullshit argument.
It's
It is
not
a
an ordinary
totally
war zone, because you
bullshit
are
argument.
waging the war with a group of people
No,
who amalgamate, or who camouflage within the civilian population, where you won't be even able to realize who are the the Hamas people, or who are the civilians, because that's how they are made into a combination, or some kind of a mixture. It's very difficult. That's how, or that's one reason why this war is even now getting prolonged such a way. That's not
sorry,
easy.
dude.
Okay.
Your whole premise is just full of holes. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but it's
Let's it. Let it
bullshit.
be.
War
Anyway, I'm
correspondents,
pretty
by
sure.
definition, are in
I'm pretty
war
sure.
zones.
I'm pretty sure that we will. I'm pretty
That's a
sure once
bullshit
Hamas is
argument.
completely surrendered and they are completely disarmed, we will see more press personals going in and reporting from the ground. I'm sure on that. But until that, we have to wait. There's no option other than that.
Okay, well, let's wait and
Okay.
see. But I guarantee you, Israel still won't let them in because they're going to want to
Let's
hide
see.
what they fucking did.
If they give a chance for that, I'll be the first person to be there.
Yeah.
I swear on you then. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to put you
Let's
to
see.
that. Yeah, I'm going to make
Yep.
sure your ass is in Gaza.
Let's
So,
see.
okay.
Let's wait for that. Let's not make any judgments over there, because
Yeah.
right now the issue is your life security. That's the main issue, or the
But
main
that's a
problem.
bullshit argument. You
No,
respect that.
because
Then why
Hamas
do you
doesn't care
respect
about
that?
whether you are a personal or someone like that, because they will kill the
Why?
press personal and they
Why?
will blame it
Why?
on Israel. That's what happened all over. They cannot make it happen again and again.
What
So
the
that's it.
IDF can't send like the journalists in with like a guard to help protect them?
So you mean to say that it's the sole purpose of the IDF to let in the people and report from? Why not
I'm
Hamas can do
s-
that? Why Hamas
I don't
cannot
know.
guard a press personnel? Why
I
the
don't know.
press is
Why?
not calling
Why
for the freeing of
would
the
it be?
hostages at
But
least?
wouldn't it be in
They
Hamas's?
forget
Wouldn't it
about
be in
reporting
their
from the
interest to let
ground.
the journalists come in so the
Forget
journalists can
about
report?
forget about reporting from the ground. They can even now, sitting in their offices, they can call for the freeing of the hostages. Even now, 50 hostages are there remaining, and it's almost 600 plus days they are in the dungeons. So even now, how many press have come forward to um, genuinely call for their release and to pressure on them to release
Lots
the
of people.
hostages? They have not done that.
Even families of hostages in Israel are demanding that
Families are demanding. I'm asking about the
that
press.
fuckwad
I'm asking
Netanyahu.
about the Washington Post or the Telegram or AP or Reuters or anyone. Why are we not seeing such a concerted call for the release of the hostages and to end
They
this war?
were the
Why don't we see that?
families.
Why
The
don't we see
families.
a?
Well,
Why don't we
dude,
see
stop talking for a second. You
no?
keep
Why don't
talking
we
over
see
me.
a countdown or a count up of a
Do you
the
think
number of
Netanyahu
days in
wants the
which the
hostages
hostages are
released?
held in the
Do you
dungeons?
think
Why we are not seeing
Netanyahu
that?
wants? Do
If
you
Times
think
of Israel can,
Netanyahu wants them released? Do you?
i-
Do you think
if
Netanyahu
time
wants them released? Yes or no?
if Times of
That's
Israel
what.
can do that, why not other
Yes
media can
or
do this?
no? Answer the question. Yes or no? Do you think Netanyahu wants them
Anyway,
released? Yes or no?
anyway, anyway,
Yes
the
or no?
hypocrisy is visible. Hypocrisy is obvious. So
Answer the
let's move on.
question. Yes or no? Do you think Netanyahu wants the hostages released? Is it in Netanyahu's
Obviously,
strategic interest that he wants them released? Yes or
I,
no?
I won't buy this conspiracy theories. That's for sure. Because
Um,
you can claim any stories or you can say
okay.
anything like
Then
that. But I
why
don't take that.
why then are the families of the hostages demanding of Netanyahu and his ultra right-wing government to insist that the hostages be returned? Because it is
They are
not
insisting. They
in
want them back.
their. The government's
Families
not
want
doing
them back.
much.
Obviously, they want them back.
Mm. But the families of
Yeah.
the hostages are
And who are not sending them
demanding.
back? Who are not sending them back?
Yeah,
Is it
because Israel
Netanyahu
keeps.
telling that you don't send them back, you just keep it in your
Do
dungeons?
you think
Is that what
Netanyahu's
you're
acting
saying?
in good faith? Do you really
No.
think Netanyahu's acting in good faith? Every
Only
single.
one thing: free the
Do you know
hostages. Free the
how many
hostages.
Israeli
That's
journalists?
the
Do
first
you know how
thing
many
that we have
Israeli
to talk about
journalists
when this
have
thing
pointed out the
is
fact
talked here.
that
We have to free the
Netanyahu is doing
hostages.
everything he can to prolong this?
We have to talk on the
Every
hostages and to end
single
this war because we are
Israeli
not seeing
journalist is
a
talking about
genuine
how
call for
Netanyahu is
that.
prolonging this.
We are not seeing a genuine call for that. We have to end this war, and by for that, the first thing which have to be done is freeing the hostages. Still,
Yeah,
we have 50 of them remaining in that
okay.
the
So let's
tunnels.
see
So
let's
we
see
need them back.
Netanyahu step up. Let's see
Netanyahu,
Netanyahu step up
let him do what he can, but forget about Netanyahu. Why Hamas is not releasing them? That's what I'm asking. Why they want to hold them back?
because it's the
Forget
only bargaining
Netanyahu
chip
is a
they have
bad
right now
person.
with Netanyahu.
Netanyahu is a traitor, but Netanyahu is a failed prime minister. Everything okay, but that's not a reason for Hamas to hold them back. They have to release them back. Okay. Anyway, any more news other than
Yeah,
this?
it was an interesting
Okay.
article I saw on
Mm,
so we've talked about this in the past, previous episode. There was a call in the British Parliament about assisted dying, and now the Church of England is speaking up because obviously, as people who may or may not know the English parliamentary system, the bishops, I don't know if it's all the bishops, but or if it's all the bishops of the Anglican Church have a
mhm,
seat in the House of Lords. Again, I don't know if it's all of the bishops or maybe just the senior archbishops, but bishops of the Anglican Church sit in the House of Lords. So there is been a call now from some those within the Church of England to get on side with assisted dying because there is a fear that the members of the Anglican Church sitting in the House of Lords could scuttle any legislation uh, around assisted dying in the UK. So I thought that was a
mhm,
rather interesting stories that came out this week. So
mhm.
so
Okay.
there are members within the Anglican Church now saying that the church needs to catch up on this whole like sanctity of life argument, and look at the suffering that people are going through and backing a bill for assisted dying
Mhm.
and the sanctity of life.
Okay. Okay. So that makes the week. The updates. And there's
Yeah,
a ongoing clash in Syria against the Druze and the Bedouins there, and Israel has intervened, and even the Shara government he has declared a ceasefire over there, and I think things will be under control for the next week. Maybe next week we will come with some more better news, some good news. How about that?
yeah. we'll see
Right.
if there is any good news. But then again, the topic is staying sane. So,
Right.
it's usually the
Let's
prime
debate
focus
and stay
is
sane.
driving us insane. So,
Right.
there
Hope
you
you
go.
are enjoying all this. So please
Yeah.
make a comment under
Well,
this.
the
Yeah,
well the people in previous moments that said they want to see more battles between you and I think we gave them that tonight with you and I
it's a
squaring
good
off
show.
against each other. All all in all in good spirits. Like obviously there's no hostility, but these are obviously sensitive topics,
Right.
and people's backs get up. But yeah,
And we want to
yeah,
preserve both the sides. That's what I want. If it's everything is one sided, that makes no sense.
yeah.
So let's
Like
let's keep it alive.
I'm not advocating against like the end of Israel. I think the Israelis want to live in, they should live in peace, but I think a lot of it, and a lot of the Israeli citizens make the same point that
Mm,
the state of Israel has been fucking the Palestinians over for generations. Multiple, like the Peace Now organization, multiple leaders, like politicians, artists, the politicians and the secular groups have been calling for a fair deal for the Palestinians.
yeah.
So yes,
Let's hope they.
we want to see peace in the region. We want to see peace for Israelis. We want to see peace for the Palestinians too.
Yeah, one thing. Yeah, I have talked to a few Palestinians who are active on social media. They live in the US and one person in Europe. So maybe I'll be trying to bring them on the podcast and we'll have more open discussions over this. And many of the positions which I share comes from them as well. So it's like there are a lot of things which is going on, which is completely distorted and obscured from the reality. So
Which is exactly my point. Let
yeah,
the fucking journalists in so they can do some reporting, but they're not
they,
being
they
allowed
cannot
in.
they cannot go in, they cannot go in right now. So that's the situation over there.
I
So what
wonder
I'm saying is
why.
what I'm saying is right now is uh, we will talk to a few Palestinians over there who have fled to other countries to save their lives, not from Israel but from Hamas. So let's talk to them at least. So that will bring a lot of sense to the people what exactly is going on over there. And even though I have met a lot more people from that region, most of them are not able to come forward and to speak online because their lives are under threat. Maybe they might be living outside, but their family members are still in the region, so they face threats from the Hamas and other jihadist groups. So that's main reason why they are holding back. So for this reason, if we could get someone who are courageous enough and who are able to do this, let's bring them. So I have identified two people, two individuals. So let's speak to them. Maybe in the future, very
Sure,
near future, we'll do that. Okay. So I'm just having a conversation with
sure,
them for finding a time with them. So
sure.
let's see you next week.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
all.
Just
Thank you,
I just
Jay.
want to make one point. So I just as you were talking about that, so I was just reminded of one of the journalists I follow. He resigned. So Haaretz is like the most sort of liberal left, I wouldn't say left, but the most liberal secular democratic newspaper in Israel. Now, Amir Schnabel, who was the president of one of our affiliates, the Israeli Atheists, has said like something like 70 to 75% of Israel are secular. And
Mhm.
Haaretz is one of the most liberal papers. And even he's saying most Israelis don't even read that paper. Now, this journalist was a journalist at Haaretz, and he resigned several years ago. He quit over Haaretz's biased reporting about what Israel was doing to the journalists. Now, this is in the most liberal newspaper in the country, and even they were selectively reporting the bullshit about what was happening to the Palestinians by the Israelis. So this guy is quitting in protest. That should tell you something. And the fact that
Okay.
Israel won't let journalists in, that just big fucking waving red flag to me.
Okay, and to counter this, we have Al Jazeera, which publishes a sort of story in Arabic and completely different story in English for the same news headline. This is how they shape the region. They shape the narratives in the region. So, uh, having a few newspapers fighting each other for their democratic values and how they are influenced or how they are gagged, that is completely different from what we have in Gaza region or in the Middle East as a general, um, where the news is not even permitted to go out in other languages other than what they consider should be gone out. And if it goes out like that, they will be even facing death threats. That's what the journalists from news outlets like Washington Post and AP came out, and they were revealing for the news interviews later on, maybe I think that came out in 2017, how they published a news which was against the Hamas narratives, and they were asked to withdraw the news, and they were given death threats for their family members and for themselves. So this is entirely different. It's like this is going on. So one area we see a fight between the perfection of the values, like how democratic it is, how the press freedom is upheld, and on the other side, it's not even about press freedom, it's about the basic reporting itself. So this is not comparable. So this is entirely different, and this is the difference in the scenario which makes this trying to make this moral equivalence going too far, and I don't think that will serve the purpose. So giving a chance for the real things to come out, okay, that's of prime importance, but for now we have to wait for some more time. And if there happens to be a chance for me to be there in the Gazan region and report from that region, I'll be the first person. Don't worry about that. So I'll be there.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah.
I will hold you to that. I will remind you
I'll be
of
there.
this when
I'll be there. I will be there.
Yeah.
I have already purchased this, so I'm always ready for this. So see you next week. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our little back and forth. Yep. So
Yep.
we
Right.
will see everybody in the coming weeks. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next
Yes.
time. Bye bye.
Good night and good morning. Bye.
Bye bye.